Alright, so in that last video about section 8.2, we were covering the factoring by grouping with a GCF. So we had just finished taking out the GCF from this particular one, and we were about to do the factoring by grouping. So once we have the GCF, what we want to do is we want to take these two here and group them, and these two here and group them. So don't forget about your GCF, write it out there first, and then I'm going to use brackets so we don't become confused. And then out of the first two here, I see there's an x in common. When I take an x out of those two, I'm left with a 2y plus 5. Now remember, back up our minds, right? We see that these are two pluses, those are two minuses, so I'm going to take out a negative 1. And from that, I'm left with a positive 2y and a positive 5. And then I am going to finish this factoring by grouping. So this term here and this term here, I have that binomial GCF. So I'm going to write down my first initial GCF, 3x, and then I'll write down my 2y plus 5, which is now my binomial GCF. I'll prepare myself for having a binomial, putting the subtraction in between. When I take the 2y plus 5 out of this first term, I'm left with an x, and when I take the 2y plus 5 out of the second term, I'm left with a 1. And so now I can box that, and that's my final answer. Now we'll look at this last one right here, F, before we turn it over for your turn problems. So again, as I look across here, I see every single term has a y in common. So I'm going to take a y out. Now it looks at first glance like there might be a 5 in common too, but you see 6 isn't going to factor by a y. So we're going to go ahead and take this out. So we have 5 and then x squared and then plus, and we have 10 and that's an x, and then minus, and we have 15 and that's just an x, and then we have minus, and then just a 6. All right, now looking here, we're going to try to factor this because we've got a 4-term polynomial, so we have factoring there and there possibly. And so I see out of these two, I'm going to do y, and then I want a bracket here, so I'm continuing on, and I see a 5x in common, so I'll take a 5x out of these. And so 5x out of those leaves me with an x there, and then a plus 2 there. All right, now out of these two, I see all I have in common is a 3, but these are both positive, so I'll try to take out a negative 3. And so a negative 3, that would give me a positive 5x, and it would give me a positive 2. Well, that didn't work very well because those binomials aren't the same. I can't factor that one like that, so that's not going to work. So let's see if ordering it a different way will work. So we say, okay, y, and then I have maybe 5x squared and a minus 15x, and then plus 10x and minus 6. Now let's try that one. So this is all crossed out. Now I'll try it again. So write down the y, and then here, and out of these two, I'm going to take a 5x this time. And so that's going to leave me with a positive x and a minus 3. Now out of these two, I'm going to take a 2, so positive 2, and that'll leave me with a 5x and then minus 3. And geez, that doesn't do it either. So unfortunately, that's my last choice. This one doesn't factor at all. So I'm going to say, nope, that didn't do it either. And I'm going to go back up here, and I'm just going to go ahead and box that as my final answer. Now what I would like you to do is to do the following your turn problems on your own, and then come back and take a look at the solutions as we go through those in the video lectures. And so you have all of these problems to do on your own. Let's see if I can get them all in here. Yep, that's all of them on one page for you. So you should take a look at those and try to do those on your own, and then come back and watch the video lecture and see if you've gotten the correct answers.